The theft of the ruby slippers from the Judy Garland Museum in 2005 by Terry Martin, who broke in through a back entrance and smashed the display case. The ruby slippers worn by Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz are one of the most iconic and valuable pieces of movie memorabilia ever made. There are only 4 known pairs of the original shoes, and one of them was on loan to the Judy Garland Museum in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, the hometown of the legendary actress. But on August 28, 2005, someone broke into the museum through a back door and smashed the glass case where the slippers were displayed. The thief grabbed the shoes and ran away, leaving behind a single red sequin as a clue. The alarm system had been disabled and there were no security cameras or guards on duty that night. The theft shocked and saddened fans of The Wizard of Oz and Judy Garland around the world. The slippers were insured for $1 million, but their sentimental and cultural value was priceless. The museum offered a $250,000 reward for their return, and an anonymous donor from Arizona later added another $1 million to the bounty. But for 13 years, the slippers remained missing, despite numerous tips, leads, and rumors. The FBI finally recovered the slippers in 2018, after a sting operation involving undercover agents and informants in Minnesota and Florida. The shoes were verified by experts as authentic and in good condition. But who was behind the heist? And why did they do it? The answer came in May 2023, when a federal grand jury indicted Terry Martin, a 76-year-old man who lived 12 miles from the museum, on one count of theft of a major artwork. Martin was identified as the main suspect after a long and complex investigation that involved DNA analysis, phone records, and confidential sources. According to the indictment, Martin stole the slippers with the intention of selling them or using them as collateral for a loan. He allegedly contacted several potential buyers over the years, but none of them agreed to his terms or trusted his authenticity. He also tried to extort money from the museum and the insurance company by claiming he had information about the whereabouts of the shoes. Martin denied any involvement in the theft and pleaded not guilty to the charge. He faced up to 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine if convicted. His trial was scheduled for later that year. The ruby slippers were finally returned to their rightful owner, Michael Shaw, a Hollywood memorabilia collector who had loaned them to the museum. Shaw said he was overjoyed and relieved to have them back after so many years of anguish. He also said he planned to donate them to a museum where they could be safely displayed and enjoyed by millions of fans. The story of how a man stole Dorothy's ruby slippers and got caught was a tale of greed, obsession, and justice. It also showed how much people loved and cherished the Wizard of Oz and Judy Garland, whose legacy lives on through her magical shoes. The recovery of the slippers in 2018 by the FBI in a sting operation that involved an informant who claimed to have information about the shoes and tried to extort money from the insurance company that owned them. The ruby slippers worn by Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz are one of the most iconic and valuable pieces of Hollywood memorabilia. There are 4 known pairs of the shoes, but one of them was stolen in 2005 from the Judy Garland Museum in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, where they were on loan from a private collector. The theft shocked and saddened fans of the movie and the actress, who was born in Grand Rapids. For 13 years, the slippers remained missing, despite several rewards and leads. The FBI finally recovered them in 2018, after a complex and secretive investigation that involved undercover agents, confidential sources, and a sting operation. The FBI said that the slippers were recovered when a man contacted the shoes insurer in 2017 and claimed that he could help get them back. The man, who was later identified as Terry Martin, said he knew who had the slippers and where they were hidden. He also demanded $1.5 million for his assistance. The insurer contacted the FBI, which launched an operation to verify Martin's claims and recover the slippers. The FBI enlisted the help of a confidential informant, who posed as a potential buyer of the shoes. The informant met with Martin several times and recorded their conversations. Martin said he had connections to the underworld and that he had seen the slippers himself. The FBI also learned that Martin had a history of theft and fraud, and that he had previously tried to sell fake memorabilia to museums and collectors. The FBI suspected that Martin was either involved in the original theft or had acquired the slippers from someone else. In July 2018, the FBI arranged a meeting between Martin and the informant at a hotel in Minneapolis. Martin brought a shoebox wrapped in red cloth, which he said contained the slippers. He asked for $2 million in cash for them. The informant agreed and left the room to get the money. The FBI then entered the room and arrested Martin. They opened the shoebox and found the ruby slippers inside. The FBI confirmed that the slippers were authentic by comparing them to another pair at the Smithsonian Institution. They also examined their condition and found signs of wear and tear consistent with their age and use in the movie. The slippers were returned to their rightful owner, who wished to remain anonymous. Martin was indicted by a federal grand jury on one count of theft of a major artwork, which carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. He pleaded not guilty and is awaiting trial. The FBI said that the recovery of the slippers was a triumph for law enforcement and for fans of The Wizard of Oz. They also said that they are still investigating who else may have been involved in the theft and how Martin obtained the slippers. The ruby slippers are now back where they belong, on display at the Judy Garland Museum, where visitors can admire them and remember their magic.